Hey there kids, and welcome to another music lesson with Mr. Whitman. For this week's lesson, we are actually going to be giving our voice a break. We're not going to be singing any songs today. Today's going to be one of those lessons where we learn about music and musical instruments. Our big job today is to learn about our final instrument family. It's the most confusing instrument family, the woodwinds. We'll do a quick review of our other three families that we have talked about. And then I have some instruments that I would like to show you today, and we will discuss how they make their sound and how they fit into this family. I do have another interesting instrument that you can see kind of in the background right here. It's an interesting drum that I have here at home that sometimes I play. I'd like to show you what it is and how it works. Then, if you've been good, which I'm sure you will, you can stick around to see a magic trick. In fact, this magic trick is already done. I have a dry erase board back right here that has some words written on it that's going to stay there until the magic trick. The answer to the magic trick is somehow already on that board. We haven't even picked our card yet, but it knows the answer. Let's get started. Okay, we can talk about it before we get started. Mr. Whitman, what happened to your face? Yeah, I had this big beard and I started trimming it off and it got shorter and it got shorter and it got shorter, and now I'm left with what looks like evil Mr. Whitman. I think I should have listened to that cartoon character Elso. I should have let it grow. Let it grow, let it grow, won't cut it off anymore. Let it grow, let it grow. I should have let it grow. Regardless, the beard's on its way back. Let's talk about some instruments. Any instrument that can be used to make music falls into one of four categories or families of instruments. The one we see most often in music class is the drum family. That's any hitting, banging, slapping, scraping. As long as you're hitting something to make music, it probably fits in the drum family. The other family that we see all the time in music class is members of the string family. That's my guitar. Any instrument that uses strings to vibrate to make their sound belongs in the string family. Well, except for the piano, but we've talked about that. There's lots of hitting on the piano, so they put it in the drum family. The other one that we talked about last week from our music lesson, which you watched, right? Right? Is the brass family. And the instrument that I showed you last week was the trumpet. Now, the way that the brass family makes their sound is with your lips buzzing. The instrument doesn't actually vibrate. Your lips vibrate. The vibrations travel through the horn, comes out the end, as we talked about. Any instrument where your lips vibrate to make the sound is a member of the brass family. One more family of instruments. We're going to talk about them next. The final family of instruments that I would like to teach you about is the Woodwind family. Now, these are instruments that you have seen before, but how they make their sound is a little unusual. Let's talk about them. The Woodwind family of instruments makes their sounds in two different ways. First is with a vibrating or shaking piece of wood, as you see on this instrument here. Or you can make it sound by spinning wind, as you will see with this instrument here when you hear it played. So the woodwind family makes it sound with wood or with wind. Let's see how this works. First, let's look how a woodwind instrument can make it sound by using a piece of wood. First, do you know the name of this instrument? This is called the clarinet. And I know what you're thinking already. Squidward! Yeah, Squidward. And sad news is he might play this instrument better than Mr. Whitman does. The little piece of wood that is used in playing this instrument is called a reed. A reed is a very thin little piece of wood that goes into your mouth that's connected to the top of this instrument here. When you blow into the top of this instrument, this little reed shakes back and forth on the top of this instrument. Those vibrations travel through the horn and creates its sound. Let's hear Whitman play the clarinet, probably poorly. That didn't work. You use your fingers to cover up the holes on the different parts of this instrument. The more holes you cover up, the further the vibrations have to go before they get out, making the inside of the instrument bigger. As we know from music class, the bigger the instrument, the lower the sound. More fingers down, more holes covered, lower the sound. The clarinet makes its sound with wood. Up next, we have another member of the woodwind family. Do you know the name of this instrument? This is the flute, and the flute makes its sound with wind. As you blow into the hole on the top of this instrument, some of your air goes down into this tube and spins around and around and around, and it spins so fast the wind starts to vibrate. Now you might be thinking, Mr. Whitman, you can't just spin air and make it vibrate to make sound. Yeah, you can. Do you know how to whistle? This is a whistle. It makes sound with vibrating or spinning air. Blow into here, it spins around, and again, just like the clarinet, you use your fingers to cover the holes to change the sound. Let's see how I do with this one. Hey, not too bad, Mr. Whitman. Any instrument that uses a vibrating piece of wood or by spinning air is a member of the woodwind family. I think that's a pretty easy way to remember that. Kitty break! Oh, I got a big one. I'd next like to show you an interesting instrument that I have here at home. This is a special type of drum you may not have seen before. It is played with a special type of drumstick that we use when we play our xylophones at school. Do you remember what this special type of drumstick is called? This is a mallet. And you know a mallet because the part that you use to hit the drum is bigger than the part that you are holding. If you're holding a drumstick and it looks like a lollipop, you're probably holding a mallet. They're not delicious. This drum is a type of a drum that's called a hang drum. A hang drum is a metal drum that's one solid piece, and then they cut slots to make different sized pieces of metal all over this instrument. Each one of these pieces will vibrate differently and sing a different note. The largest one is this one here in the center. So when we hit it, it sounds like this. As we hit the different sized pieces, it sings a different note. when you put these different sounds together, you can make some pretty interesting music. It is a nice, calm, relaxing instrument to play. This is a hang drum. For today's magic trick, I've had this board that was in the back of our lesson this week, and the answer to our magic trick was written on this board. But as you can see, it doesn't really look like it's written on there. What it says right now is, the name of the card is... And then do you see an answer? It's not on the back. Where's the... But I think the answer's on there. Let's see if we can find it. I'm going to set this aside for just a moment. And we are going to find a card to use for this trick. Now, I don't have a magician's assistant. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shuffle up these cards and then I'm just going to pick one and see if we can make some magic out of it. So, I'm going to shuffle up these cards a little bit. So I don't know where any of the cards are. You don't know where any of the cards are. And we're going to pick one card out of here. Don't need that card anyway. Let's just take whatever card ended up on top. The 10 of hearts. Let's see if we can make the 10 of hearts appear on the board without writing anything else. So let's go back to our board. And the board says the name of the card is, and now I'm going to use my little magic finger here to see if we can make some magic happen. And now the board says TEN, 10 of HEART, hearts, 10 of hearts. And there it was on our board the whole time. Thank you for sticking around with this week's magic trick. I will see you again next week for another brand new one. Toodles!